Thank you for choosing wisdom of the Dharma. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you never miss a new update. Your support helps us keep sharing powerful, life-changing wisdom with the world. And don't forget to drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's grow and learn together. Part 1. The power hidden in the smallest seed. There's a quiet kind of wisdom in the things we overlook. A seed in your hand. A grain of salt. A single black peppercorn. Small, ordinary, almost forgettable. And yet, the most powerful forces in the universe often come in the tiniest forms. In Buddhist teaching, we're reminded that karma is not always loud. It doesn't thunder or flash like a storm. Sometimes, it arrives in a whisper, in a gesture so small that only the mindful notice. And that's what today's story is really about, how something as humble as a black peppercorn can carry a weight far greater than its size. Several years ago, I had a conversation with a client, let's call her Jordan. She was a brilliant creative director at a rising ad agency in Los Angeles. Sharp mind. Fierce drive. But beneath her polished presence was a kind of pain that clung to her, invisible to most. She had been wronged, deeply, by someone she once mentored, an intern who had sabotaged her campaign, then took credit for the work. No apology. No closure. What haunted her wasn't the betrayal, it was the silence that followed. The absence of justice. She didn't want revenge, she said. She just wanted to stop waking up every morning feeling like the wound was still fresh. Like it was still happening. That's when I introduced her to the ritual you're about to learn. It wasn't magic. It wasn't superstition. It was a spiritual tool rooted in presence, energy, and intention. A way to reclaim her peace, not by forcing others to change, but by shifting the current within herself. In this video, we're going to explore that tool together. The black peppercorn ritual is far more than a placement trick. It's a doorway. A path for healing what still echoes inside. Whether you've been hurt by someone's words, ghosted by someone who owed you kindness, or simply need to release resentment you've carried for far too long, this is for you. Stay with me until the end, because once you understand how and why it works, not just spiritually but energetically, you'll see that even the smallest seed can plant the deepest transformation. And perhaps, just perhaps, your peace will become so strong that even your enemy will feel it and return to meet it. Part 2. Wounds that words leave behind. We've all heard the saying, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me." But the truth is, words can wound far deeper than we like to admit. Especially when they come from someone we trusted. You see, in Buddhist psychology, speech is considered one of the most powerful tools for either liberation or destruction. What we say carries energy. Words don't just vanish after they're spoken, they echo, embedding themselves in the mind and spirit of the listener. Harsh words leave karmic traces, not just for the one who speaks them, but for the one who receives them. A single comment, spoken out of jealousy, resentment, or fear, can fracture relationships, seed self-doubt, and create wounds that fester for years. Unlike physical injuries, there's no visible scar. But the pain shows up in other ways, in hesitation, in defensiveness, in sleepless nights. Take the story of Marcus, a young man who had just started his career in tech. He had a natural talent for solving complex systems and was eager to contribute. But during a company meeting, his supervisor publicly humiliated him over a mistake that wasn't his. The words were sharp, and the tone carried disdain. "Maybe you're not cut out for this level of work." Those words didn't just embarrass Marcus, they paralyzed him. For weeks, he stopped speaking up in meetings, second-guessed every email, and even considered quitting. It wasn't until months later, after a friend invited him to a meditation retreat, that he began unpacking the real source of his suffering. It wasn't the event, it was the energy that lingered inside him, unprocessed. Words, once internalized, don't just haunt us, they become us, unless we consciously release them. That's why rituals like the black peppercorn practice matter, not because they promise revenge or retribution, but because they offer a path to liberation from the residue others leave behind. They give us a way to alchemize pain into power, to transmute insult into insight. When we allow the poison of past words to keep circulating within, we unknowingly bind ourselves to those who harmed us. But when we begin to purify our inner space, intentionally, patiently, we loosen the knot. We breathe again. We reclaim the parts of ourselves that were pushed into silence. The real wound, after all, isn't what was said. It's what we continue to carry. And that's what we're here to begin letting go of. Part 3, the Dharma behind the peppercorn. In Buddhist teachings, objects are never just objects. A lotus isn't just a flower. A bowl isn't just a vessel. And a peppercorn, small, round, dark, is not just a kitchen spice. It is potential. The Dharma reminds us that form and emptiness are not separate. What looks like a tiny seed can hold the weight of intention, the shape of karma, and the spark of transformation. When we use an object like a black peppercorn in spiritual practice, we are not asking it to perform miracles, we are inviting it to mirror what's already within us, the capacity to absorb, transform, and release. Why the peppercorn? In ancient medicine, black pepper was seen as a purifier. It stimulates circulation, clears toxins, and ignites warmth in the body. Energetically, it behaves the same way, it penetrates stagnation. It moves what's stuck. Spiritually, it serves as a sponge for dense, unspoken emotions, especially those born of anger, betrayal, and resentment. In the framework of Dharma, we understand that nothing happens in isolation. There is no wound that exists without a cause. There is also no healing that happens without intentional action. The black peppercorn, in this light, becomes an agent of karmic transmutation. Not because it's magic, but because it's mindful. When you hold 7 peppercorns in your hand, you're not holding ingredients. You're holding symbols. 7 represents the cycle of transformation, from ignorance to awareness, from holding on to letting go. The roundness of the seed reflects wholeness, a reminder that your healing doesn't need to be dramatic. It only needs to be complete. In mindfulness practice, we often say, your attention is your power. So when you offer your attention to these peppercorns with sincerity, you're not placing power in the object, you're activating the power within yourself. This isn't superstition. This is energy medicine. This is Dharma in daily life. And when practiced from a place of compassion, not vengeance, you set in motion something greater than justice. You set in motion peace. If this wisdom is resonating with you so far, let's deepen the journey together. Like this video, subscribe to Wisdom of the Dharma, and leave a comment below sharing one word you're ready to release. Just one. Because even a single word can be the start of your healing. Part 4, Story, The Teacher Who Forgave Silently. Years ago, in a quiet town outside Chicago, there was a middle school teacher named Ruth. She wasn't famous or flashy, just the kind of person who left an impact on everyone she met. Students remembered her not just for what she taught, but how she made them feel, seen, safe, capable. But even the most grounded people aren't immune to cruelty. One year, a new student transferred in, Kevin. Bright, but angry. His life at home was a storm, and he brought that storm with him into every classroom. Ruth, being the senior teacher, was assigned to guide him. At first, she approached him with patience, encouraged him, held space when he acted out. But nothing seemed to soften his edges. Then came the breaking point. During a group project, Kevin accused her, loudly and falsely, of favoritism and sabotage. The accusation was sharp, public, and humiliating. Other students watched in silence. Ruth didn't react. She just asked him to return to his seat. But that evening, she didn't sleep. It wasn't the insult that stung, it was the injustice. The weight of holding so much space for someone who returned it with poison. Colleagues told her to file a report. Parents offered to intervene. But Ruth didn't do any of that. Instead, she went home, sat in silence, and placed 7 black peppercorns in her palm. She'd learned the practice from a Buddhist retreat she'd attended years prior. She closed her hand around them and whispered a simple intention, not for Kevin to suffer, not for the truth to be revealed, but for her own heart to be free. Each night for 7 nights, she placed the peppercorns under her pillow and repeated the same mantra. I release what does not belong to me. I protect what is mine, peace, patience, and love. She didn't tell anyone. She didn't wait for results. 3 weeks later, Kevin handed her a handwritten note. Just one sentence, I'm sorry for how I treated you. I didn't know what I was doing. That was all. But it was everything. Ruth never spoke of the ritual. She didn't need to. What mattered wasn't the apology, it was the energy that shifted before it arrived. Her peace had become more powerful than her pain. And in that space, even anger softened. Forgiveness isn't always loud. It doesn't always mean reconciliation. Sometimes it simply means you stop giving your energy to the wound, and start giving it back to yourself. And that's the quiet beauty of this ritual. It doesn't ask the world to change. It changes you, so the world can meet you differently. When you shift your energy, the world has no choice but to shift in return. Part 5, Ritual Reframed, a Mindful Practice. The true power of any ritual lies not in the steps, but in the spirit behind them. Without presence, ritual becomes routine. But when approached with sincerity, even the simplest gesture can become sacred. Let's return to the black peppercorn, not as superstition, but as a vessel. A practice rooted in the essence of mindfulness. This isn't a spell. It's not about control. It's a deliberate act of energetic release. Here's how to begin, not mechanically, but with reverence. First, choose a time when you will not be interrupted. Early morning, before the world awakens. Or late at night, when your mind has settled. Prepare 7 black peppercorns, not cracked, not broken. Whole. Like your intention. Sit comfortably. Let your back be tall but not tense. Hold the peppercorns in both hands and place them over your heart. Breathe in through the nose, long and slow. Exhale gently through the mouth. In that stillness, ask yourself, what am I ready to release? Let the answers rise, unforced. It might be a name, a memory, a feeling that has overstayed its welcome. Don't chase it, just notice. Then close your eyes. Imagine the peppercorns absorbing what your heart can no longer carry. Not violently, gently, like rain being soaked into dry earth. Visualize the resentment, the disappointment, the shame, softening, breaking down, dissolving into something lighter. And now speak your mantra. Not from the throat, but from the belly. Let it be simple, clear, personal. You can use this. I let go of what does not serve. I honor my pain, but I do not live in it. I invite peace to take its place. Say it 3 times. Slowly. Each time, feel the shift. Like a window being opened. When you finish, place the peppercorns in their chosen location, under your pillow, the left side of your bed, or wherever you feel intuitively drawn. But don't rush this step. Place them with care. As if you are planting something, not in soil, but in the fabric of your life. You don't need candles. You don't need incense. You just need honesty. And the courage to name what hurts, and then, to let it go. This is the heart of true spiritual practice, not to escape life's pain, but to meet it with such compassion that it loses its grip on you. The ritual is the beginning. The rest is what unfolds when peace finally has a place to land. Part 6, Where to place the pepper, and why it works energetically. Where you place the peppercorns isn't just symbolic. In spiritual practice, especially in energy-based traditions like Feng Shui and Buddhist mindfulness, location carries meaning. Energy flows differently depending on where you are, what you're doing, and what intention you set for the space. Let's explore 4 recommended placements for your 7 black peppercorns, each with its unique energetic purpose. These aren't random, they align with natural rhythms, emotional centers, and the flow of subtle energy fields in your daily life. 1. Under your pillow, healing the mind and emotional residue. The pillow is where your head rests, but also where your mind releases the noise of the day. When you place the peppercorns under your pillow at night, you are inviting cleansing on the level of dreams, thoughts, and memory. Sleep is the body's time to heal, but it's also when unresolved energy tends to surface. This placement allows the pepper to absorb recurring emotional loops, those thoughts that keep spinning in your head, especially ones tied to past conflict or guilt. For those who experience restlessness, anxiety before bed, or recurring dreams about unresolved issues, this is a gentle place to begin. 2. On the left side of your bed, supporting growth and emotional renewal. In energy mapping traditions, the left side of the body and bed is associated with the yin energy, softness, recovery, compassion, and growth. This placement nurtures emotional restoration and encourages forgiveness. It's ideal for those going through emotional transitions, healing from heartbreak, letting go of betrayal, or learning to trust again. The peppercorns here act like energetic guardians, neutralizing negativity and quietly inviting renewal as you rest. 3. On a northwest-facing windowsill, surrender to higher justice. This position taps into the cosmic energy of the heaven direction in Feng Shui, the northwest. This is the direction of unseen help, guides, mentors, karmic balance. When you place the peppercorns here, you are not just asking for peace, you are handing over the burden to higher laws. This is especially powerful when you feel wronged and want resolution without confrontation. Let the wind pass through them. Let the light touch them. And trust that karma moves in silence, not in spectacle. 4. Beneath your work desk, protection and focus in challenging environments. The workplace can be a battlefield of unspoken energies, jealousy, gossip, competition. Placing peppercorns in the back left corner under your desk forms a subtle energetic barrier. It doesn't fight fire with fire. It simply shields, absorbs, and softens. You may begin to notice less tension in your interactions, or that your words flow easier, or that people who used to challenge you now seem quieter. It's not coincidence. It's alignment. Each location speaks to a part of you, your mind, your heart, your karma, your professional life. Choose one, or rotate through them gently. But remember, the true placement isn't in a corner or cushion, it's in your intention. Where your presence goes, healing begins. Before we move on, take a quiet moment to reflect, which area of your life feels most in need of release right now, your thoughts, your heart, your karma, or your work. Choose one placement. Start small. Start sincerely. And if this message is speaking to something inside you, please support our journey together. Like this video, subscribe to Wisdom of the Dharma, and share in the comments where you feel called to place your peppercorns first. Let this be the beginning of your return to inner peace. Part 7, Case Study, A Businessman's Reconciliation. Not long ago, I met Daniel, a high-performing executive in a New York marketing firm. From the outside, his life was everything most people dreamed of: a penthouse view, high-stakes deals, luxury watches, even a speaking slot at a national leadership conference. But what struck me most when we spoke wasn't his success, it was the heaviness he carried beneath it. Years earlier, Daniel had been betrayed by his closest friend and former business partner. The two had built a company from scratch, but when things got tough, his partner bailed, taking a chunk of their shared client list with him. The betrayal wasn't just financial. It was personal. They had been best men at each other's weddings, godfathers to each other's children. Daniel didn't retaliate. He buried himself in work, built a new team, and moved on, at least professionally. But something inside stayed stuck. He never talked about it publicly, but in quiet moments, his energy still flickered with resentment. He didn't want revenge. What he really longed for was release, and maybe, if the universe allowed it, an apology that never came. I offered him a simple suggestion: try the peppercorn ritual, not for retribution, but for freedom. Skeptical at first, he agreed to try it. He placed 7 black peppercorns on the northwest-facing windowsill of his home office. Each morning, before diving into strategy meetings, he would take one breath, look at the seeds, and silently repeat, "I trust the universe to resolve what I do not carry anymore." Weeks passed. Then one evening, out of the blue, he received a message. His former partner had reached out. Not to do business. Not to explain. But to apologize. "I know I didn't handle things right. I don't expect anything from you. I just needed to say it." That was all. But to Daniel, it was enough. The weight lifted, not because someone else changed, but because he had made space for that change to happen. This is the quiet truth behind these rituals. They don't force apologies. They don't manipulate fate. They shift energy, first within you, then around you. And when that shift is real, life has a way of meeting you halfway. What Daniel learned, and what we all must eventually discover, is that peace doesn't begin when others say sorry. It begins when we stop waiting and choose to let go. Part 8, Amplifying the Ritual with Objects of Intention. While the black peppercorn ritual is powerful on its own, its energy can be deepened by adding simple, intentional tools that align your body, mind, and space. Think of these additions not as decoration, but as instruments. Instruments that help tune the atmosphere around you to match the peace you're cultivating within. The first is a string of prayer beads, or mala. Traditionally used in Buddhist and Hindu traditions for mantra repetition, mala beads offer a physical anchor for your attention. You don't need to chant anything elaborate. Just use the same phrase you speak in your peppercorn ritual, something like, "I release what does not serve me." As you slide each bead through your fingers, you're reinforcing the energetic signal. Thought, sound, and touch become synchronized. Next, consider adding a short breathing meditation before placing your peppercorns. Just 5 minutes of mindful breathing can shift your nervous system from stress to calm. Sit quietly. Inhale for a count of 4, hold for 4, exhale for 6. Do this cycle a few times and you'll feel your energy settle, making you far more receptive to the ritual's deeper effects. A still mind receives guidance. A busy one resists it. A third tool that can amplify your practice is a written intention card. Take a small piece of paper and write a sentence that summarizes your purpose. It might be, I forgive what no longer deserves my attention. Or, I choose peace over pain. Fold it and place it beneath your peppercorns, on your nightstand, windowsill, or even inside the pouch if you carry the ritual with you. This written affirmation acts as a kind of spiritual contract. You've named your desire, and that clarity strengthens your field. None of these tools are essential, but they all work toward the same goal, helping you show up to the ritual with full presence and open-hearted sincerity. Remember, healing is rarely loud. It doesn't require fire and thunder. Sometimes, it begins with one breath, one mantra, one seed, and the willingness to let that be enough for now. Use what calls to you. Leave the rest. Just keep your intention clear, because your energy, not the object, is what truly transforms your life. Part 9, Misuse and Karma, a warning through story. For every sacred practice, there's always the risk of misunderstanding, or worse, misusing it. When we treat spiritual tools like shortcuts to control others, we're not working with energy. We're working against it. And that always comes with a cost. Let me tell you about Erin. She was a yoga teacher in Portland, well loved by her students, known for her insight and calm presence. But behind the scenes, she was going through a bitter divorce. Her ex had moved on quickly, too quickly, and it triggered something fierce inside her. One evening, after reading about the peppercorn ritual online, she decided to try it. Not to release pain. Not to find peace. But to make him regret it. She lit candles, scattered black peppercorns on every corner of her apartment, and repeated a mantra she didn't believe, laced with resentment. Her energy wasn't soft. It was sharp, angry. She even joked with a friend that she was casting a kind of revenge spell. Within days, strange things began to unfold. She felt increasingly irritable. Her sleep became restless. She argued with close friends over small things. Her students started canceling classes. The more she tried to force results from the ritual, the more unbalanced her life became. Eventually, a mentor confronted her and asked one simple question. What did you really ask the ritual to do, heal or harm? Erin broke down. She realized she had violated the very spirit of what she taught others. Intention matters. Energy reflects. The peppercorn ritual, like any spiritual act, is not neutral. It absorbs what you give it. If you offer it bitterness, it amplifies tension. If you offer it grace, it softens the air around you. There's no room for revenge in a practice rooted in release. Buddhist philosophy reminds us that intention is karma's seed. What you plant, you will eventually harvest. It might not come back tomorrow, but it always comes back. So ask yourself, am I using this to punish, or to purify? Am I trying to change someone, or to change how I hold what they did? Spiritual tools are not weapons. They're mirrors. And if we're not ready to face our own reflection, we're not ready to use them at all. Part 10, Integration, Making Peace a Daily Practice. A ritual, no matter how powerful, is only as lasting as the life that follows it. True healing doesn't happen in a single moment. It unfolds through the choices we make every day. That's why the black peppercorn ritual should never stand alone. It should be woven into a larger tapestry of mindful living. Peace is not an event. It's a rhythm. And to sustain that rhythm, we must bring the energy of release and forgiveness into the way we walk, speak, and respond, especially when no one is watching. Start with your words. In Buddhism, right speech is one of the core elements of the Noble Eightfold Path. It asks, are your words kind? Are they true? Are they necessary? After performing the peppercorn ritual, observe how you speak about others, especially those who have wronged you. If you catch yourself retelling the same hurtful stories, pause. Ask yourself, am I remembering to heal, or to reopen the wound? Then, look at your reactions. Do you still flinch when their name comes up? Do you shrink, or spike in anger? These are normal responses, but each one is an invitation. An opportunity to say silently, I see you, pain. I don't need to follow you today. You can also integrate micro practices throughout your space. Keep a small bowl of peppercorns on your altar or bookshelf, not as decoration, but as a reminder, you are choosing peace. When you sit down at your desk, take one breath. When you wash your hands, release one thought. When you feel tension rise, soften your shoulders and say your mantra under your breath. Every small moment can become a spiritual act when done with intention. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-forgiveness. You are not just the victim of words or betrayal. Sometimes you were the one who spoke carelessly, or reacted in fear. That doesn't make you unworthy of peace, it makes you human. The same ritual that softens your heart toward others can soften your heart toward yourself. Because in the end, peace isn't something you visit when things fall apart. It's a home you build, breath by breath, ritual by ritual, day by mindful day. Before we close, if this message touched something inside you, if even one sentence helped you breathe a little deeper or release something heavy, please take a moment to support this space of healing. Like this video, subscribe to Wisdom of the Dharma, and share your reflections in the comments. What part of your life are you choosing to reclaim today? Your story might be the light someone else needs tomorrow. Thank you for walking this path with me. Your presence here matters more than you know. Until we meet again, may your heart stay light, your spirit stay grounded, and your journey always move toward peace. See you in the next video.